What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. We had a lot of stuff happen yesterday. We got a curveball thrown to us by Microsoft with their Game Pass that caught everyone off guard. I wasn't expecting this. We're going to go over how their Game Pass service just got a whole lot more interesting to gamers everywhere. God of War got that release date that made me kind of sweat a little bit beforehand because I was a little worried it was going to get delayed kind of out of nowhere. And it's actually on a day where it's going to kind of compete with something, although maybe not. I don't know. I mean, you have a father and son on either side for either activity. So yeah, maybe it will. And we found out that, hey, those SD cards that we thought were stuck at 400 gigabytes, maybe not. We might be seeing those terabyte cards sooner than we think. Let's get started. So God of War is coming out April 20th. So in a couple months, it will be out. Remember, I was a little concerned after seeing the PlayStation experience take place, and they talked about how they were playing through it and everything was going well, but they didn't have a release date for us. And if you remember, I was a little worried that it would fall into maybe the back half of 2018. Nope, it looks like it's going to just get into that first quarter or so, right in there in April. It's still weird that it took this long to announce that release date, because I feel like we're a couple months out now, and that's not typical for a lot of these games get a release date that close. But either way, it's coming out April 20th, and you're right, that is the same day as the Nintendo Labo. So on either side, you'll have a father and son working to put cardboard together, and the other side, you'll have a father and son, killing monsters. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of swearing on either side anyway, so maybe it won't be that different, and maybe they really will compete. All I know is it'd be a little odd if Labo ends up outselling God of War, although I don't think that'll happen, because PlayStation fans have been waiting for God of War for a while, whereas Nintendo fans just found out about Labo a week or two ago. So it's a little different there. A lot of hype for God of War, a lot of surprise for Labo. But we found out about this in a trailer. However, before that, the collector's edition appeared to go up on Amazon, and they showed some pretty cool stuff in this collector's edition, by the way. They had a full statue that was really cool of Kratos and his son, and then they had these little carvings, steel book, but they had the date of April 20th attached to it. Now, we've seen a lot of dates for God of War, so it wasn't anything new. We were like, oh, another date. We've had March, we've had June, and then we've had April. But luckily, they clarified it. They put out an entire trailer that was pretty cool, and they confirmed it April 20th. So if you're looking forward to God of War, despite, I guess, a quarter of it taking place on a boat and the inability to jump, as people are making jokes of online, get ready, a few months away. I'm actually looking forward to it, because I want to see how they change up this gameplay style that we're so used to with God of War. It's hectic, it's hack and slash, you're mashing buttons all over the place. And we're going to a slower version of God of War, something closer, I guess, to like the speed of Uncharted, I guess, rather than going from, the speed of Devil May Cry. So I want to see how they make this happen, and apparently it's like a 20-hour game, so plenty of story will, I guess, be in this game. So I'm looking forward to it, and that's April 20th, so we're not too far out. Should be good. All right, let's move on to Xbox Game Pass, because I was shocked at this announcement. Everyone online seemed to be shocked at this announcement, and that is if you have Xbox Game Pass. Now, we've talked about Game Pass a couple times, right? It's the service where you get to put in $10 a month, and they give you a library of games you can pick from, and they've put some good ones in there. Gears of War 4 is in there, Halo 5 is in there, and then they even have Xbox original games. Ninja Gaiden Black is there, 360 games are there, so it's a lot to pick from. According to them, it's over 100 games, and you get to actually download them locally to your system. You're not streaming them, you're actually downloading them and then playing them. You get all the updates. And if you have, at this time, a computer, any of the Xbox Play Anywhere games will also work on your PC if you have Game Pass. I actually downloaded and installed Gears of War today just to try it out. But yeah, because I had it on my Xbox, I was able to download it on my PC, which is kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of a neat feature. But the big thing now is all of the Microsoft developed games from their Microsoft Game Studios is going to be their day one. Sea of Thieves is out March 20th. That's going to be on the Game Pass that same day. So you don't have to go out and spend $60 if you already have Game Pass. You can just download it and play it. Now, not only is Sea of Thieves going to this, they also confirmed that Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2, future Gears series, future Forza, Halo, everything is apparently going to this service day one. And this caught everyone off guard, because this means you don't have to buy the game day one. You can, if you have Game Pass, you can just have it and just download it day one. They might even do some stuff. I don't know if it's going to happen yet, but I have a feeling they're going to give people with Game Pass maybe like a couple day head start or something. That's something I wouldn't be surprised about, to be honest, because Microsoft has been making this push towards games as a service for a while now. A lot of us were surprised about this, and then some people were asking, how are they going to do this? How are they going to make money? Microsoft would rather have you locked in for $10 per month. And then they develop games and put out, think of Netflix when they make their own series, their own movies, things like that. Microsoft would rather have you pay $10 per month, no questions asked, and provide these games, a couple games a year, and then you play them, and you don't actually buy them from the retailer who takes a cut, wholesaler takes a cut, and it really trickles down the line to where how much is Microsoft getting per game anyway? I'm sure they get more than $10 per, obviously, but they might have you on the hook for a game you wouldn't have bought anyway. And honestly, it might be good for you because you might try out a game you wouldn't have otherwise. How many people were going to try out something like Sea of Thieves, right? And now you find out if you have Game Pass and you weren't interested in the first place, maybe I'll check that out one night and see how it is. And then maybe you like it, and oh look, you're hooked on it. Now I do want to point out some of the downfalls of Game Pass. It works as long as the game is in the library. And they've told us before games will cycle in and out of the library, and it works as long as you're current on your $10 a month per bill. I think that's less of a big deal as people realize, since most of us have Netflix that costs more than that. At least I believe most people do at this point. I always hear about people just watching Netflix all the time, and I assume you're paying for it, not just, taking your friends. Like, I'm sure that was popular before. They seem to crack down on that a bit now. Hulu, HBO Go, there's a lot of services that charge $10 per month, and if you're a gamer, well, Game Pass makes a lot of sense to me, so I don't think that's as big of a deal. I think the cycling in and out is what's a bigger deal, because how long will these games stay on that service? Is it the first month? Is it the first 2 months? Does it stay indefinitely? Gears has been on there for a while now, so that's the big question mark that we'll have to see if it gets answered. Maybe when Sea of Thieves comes out, is that going to still be there up to the end of 2018, or is that thing gone, boom, after the first month? That's the big question I need to see, and if it's completely worth it. If those games stay, yeah, it's worth it. Halo 5's been on there forever now. You can just download it and play it. So for people who want to try these games, and you still get a discount anyway, I think some of the games are like 50% off if you're a Game Pass member. So, hey, there you go. If you like it, I guess you can buy it and just leave it in your library. But let me know what you guys think about this move. Is it good for Microsoft to do that? And could it be great going forward for competition? Maybe Sony looks at this and says, hey, it's working. They did it with online, right? People were saying, Sony's never going to charge for online. This was the thing back in the day. And guess what? They started charging for online, so who knows what happens here. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on this entire Game Pass situation with their first-party titles just being added. You can just download them. Next up, let's talk about Nintendo picking up a pretty young talent here in the indie scene. Now, if you don't know, there's a game called Downwell that's a pretty cool roguelike type platformer, and it was out on Android and iOS devices a while back in 2015, made its way to PS4. I don't know if it made it to the Vita. I think it made it to the Vita as well, and that was 2016. I know it was on the PS4, but this was a good game, and the creator by the name of Ojiro Fumato actually joined with Nintendo. Now, he made us aware of this back on Facebook. Okay, this was back in November, but then yesterday he finally announced, yes, on Twitter, he is now working for Nintendo. And you might be wondering, why is this a big deal? Well, the big thing is Ojiro is in his mid-20s, which is big for Nintendo because this is obviously someone who is talented at level design and creating games, and now he's part of, well, Nintendo's internal studios, which is big because they need to add younger talent as they go forward, and this is almost like a great free agent signing. Maybe you watch a lot of sports. This is a very good free agent signing for Nintendo to go pick up somebody who's young, who probably has a lot of fresh ideas, who was able to make something like Downwell basically by themselves essentially and put it out there. I'm sure they had help, but it was mostly them. They created it, became a success. I believe Devolver Digital jumped in with apparently a large sum of money to help publish it, and it was off. So it's good to see them pick up somebody like this for the future, and I'm going to be curious what they throw him into. Does he all of a sudden jump right into a new project that we don't know about? Or does he jump into helping out Metroid or Pokemon? Who knows where he's going to help, maybe Smash, but it's going to be fun to see what he helps on and where his name pops up in the credits going forward. Next up, let's very quickly talk about Dragon Ball FighterZ, because we found out its file size, and it might be a little surprising to you because we're so used to large games. Even Nintendo at times, I mean, Zelda Breath of the Wild is I think at this point over 14 gigabytes with the updates and everything. But of course, Mario Odyssey is less at like 5 and some change. But in this case, Dragon Ball FighterZ is just over 4 gigabytes. It's 4.16 gigabytes. A lot of people have the game now for review purposes, and they're finding that the download time for that game pretty short. And I know you're thinking, that would fit great on a Switch cartridge. Yes, I put it on Twitter and everyone was saying that. So it almost seems like everything is aligning for a Dragon Ball FighterZ Switch port. The requirements for computer, for PC is pretty low, with a 650 Ti being the minimum requirement and a GTX 660 being the recommended requirements. That's low, by the way, by today's standards. So it seems like with that, the file size, I mean, the art style, everything seems to fit the Switch. Now, we still don't have any kind of announcement, but hey, Xenoverse 2 sales were great on the Switch, and that's actually larger in terms of file size, so they could easily put it on one of those smaller Switch cartridges and put it out without having to worry about the cartridge cost, and porting shouldn't be an issue. So I know we're still talking about how it's not on the Switch, but I feel like we're going to get an announcement at some point about it going over to the Switch, because apparently they heard us. Everything seems to line up to being within the capabilities of the Switch. But for now, enjoy it on the PC, enjoy it on the PS4, enjoy it on the Xbox One. And when it does, or if it does get announced for the Switch, have it be kind of that happy moment where you're like, oh good, have it be a happy surprise, and then maybe go buy it again on the Switch. It's up to you though, but just know the file size is pretty small. It won't even take you long to download on really anything. Next up, let's talk about the world of micro SD cards, because, well, there's a new one coming, and yes, they did break that 400 gigabyte world record that was set last year. Remember, I believe SanDisk set that record. Well, it looks like it's been broken by a 512 gigabyte card. And this was unveiled by Integral Memory from over in the UK, and it's a 500 gigabyte micro SD card. No idea on pricing, but the 400 gigabyte cards are usually around $240 or so. So expect this one to be about $300, I'd say, maybe a little more. But if you need that extra space, if you want a large SD card, because people were buying the 400 gigabyte card, you probably want to buy this. A 512 gigabyte card, you should be okay for a bit. I want to point out one thing. This will, by the way, be shipping in February. It seems like we just had that 400 gigabyte card come out. We're like, I don't know, we'll see a bigger one. 512 gigabyte card is announced months later. So I don't know how far off we are from a terabyte card, but I think we might be within 2 years of seeing a 1 terabyte micro SD card. And that is exciting because that'll mean a few things. One, the 256 gig, 240 gigabyte cards, those will be dirt cheap by then, right? But the big thing is we'll be getting that point where space constraints with micro SD cards are becoming less of an issue, because when that terabyte card is out, well, the 512 gigabyte or the 400 gigabyte cards will be cheaper, and of course you'll have the option of a full terabyte on the Switch, which would be really neat. Of course, cell phones will also use it, tablets, but the big thing people are buying these for right now is the Nintendo Switch. So good to see that, or if you're recording on your camera, this should do fine as well. In our last bit of news, I want to leave you guys with something really cool. It's a really neat piece of gaming history, and that is a picture of Nintendo headquarters from 1890. Take a look at this picture. Now, Nintendo originally made cards, flower cards as they say, over 120 years ago when they were starting out. And this picture appears to be from the 1890s. This surfaced on Twitter from a user by the name of Florent Gorges. They posted on Twitter, they track kind of early history, specifically around Nintendo even in this case. And this is really cool because it shows kind of the humble beginnings of what would turn into a massive company that has been innovating games forever now. I mean, think about it, guys. This picture was before they even thought about anything like they are now, right? Their headquarters are massive now, but this is like when they were like small time. And it's kind of cool to see the humble beginnings of a company that is as large as Nintendo, as well known as Nintendo now. Nobody knew them back then, but here they are now. Everybody knows Nintendo, everybody knows Mario, and it's just cool, I guess, to take a look back. Also, I don't really know a lot of pictures from that time, specifically, I guess, around Japan, so it's just cool to see it on its own, but the fact that somebody got a picture of the headquarters of Nintendo printed right there in this time period, very cool to see. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Newswave today. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, guy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Newswave today. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, guys. Really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave a bunch of comments down below. Maybe you want to talk about this picture that surfaced of 1890s Nintendo headquarters. I think it's pretty cool to see. It's just something to throw into the gaming history books and just kind of take a look at every now and then, just to remember where Nintendo came from, I guess, to where they are, now. Also, let me know what you think about Microsoft's Game Pass strategy, where they're going to add brand new games, right? Just brand new games to the service day one. It seems good for consumers, but is this really the right move for Microsoft to really take their games, not make sales really matter really anymore? They're going to give it to people for a monthly fee. Is this good for Microsoft, or is this a step in the wrong direction? Business-wise, seems consumer-wise is great for the most part, but let me know what you guys think about that. And God of War, April 20th, are you getting it, yes or no? And do you think Labo's going to outsell God of War? I don't think so, because Labo's still kind of an odd situation, whereas God of War is something that Sony fans have been waiting quite a while for. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.